Hi, I'm Claire from Inspiratrix Yoga. This Yoga for Burnout class is all about setting the intention of using your practice to help you feel better. It's not suitable for total beginners because there isn't a lot of instruction every pose. You probably need to have done a little bit of yoga before, but it's not a massively hard class. It would be useful to have your yoga mat and maybe a cushion and maybe a yoga block. But if you don't have those things, then you can improvise. Start on your mat. You can either lie down or sit up, whichever would be most comfortable. But let's just start by doing some deep breathing and just feeling into how are you right now. So sitting or lying down any way that feels comfortable. Whether it would feel better for you to lie down or sit up. That's the first choice. And then rest your hands on your knees or on your belly. Close your eyes. And if you're not already breathing through your nose, breathe in and out through your nose if you can. And as you settle into that, just be checking out how you feel inside. Do you feel in a very extrovert space where you want to go and hang out with loads of people? Or do you feel in more of an introvert space where you just want your own company? Do you feel full of energy and aliveness today? Or do you feel a bit depleted? Like, is your battery full or is your battery empty or half empty? Just breathing into that and feeling internally what the answer is for you. Making sure that whether you're lying down or sitting upright, you're kind of in the most comfortable position for you. Just breathing deeply and checking in internally. And then noticing within your body whether there are areas that you're holding. Are there places that you can feel tension or injuries? Is there a way in which you're in a particular pattern of being right now? And sometimes it helps to close your eyes to just really focus internally. And consciously choose to lengthen both your inhale and your exhale. Deep breathing isn't just about the inhale. It's also about extending your exhale. For me, I'm getting increasingly better at spotting the signs of when I feel burnt out, when I feel like I've just been doing too much. Whether that's too much work, whether that's too much going out and not sleeping, whether that's just too much stuff with people. Like there's sometimes I'd start to feel increasingly tired and grumpy and unwilling to do anything, whether that's do any more work or wash up or tidy my room or like whatever I need to do. But key to doing something about that is just noticing what those internal signals are. Whether those are signals that land in the physical, in a particular pattern, or whether it kind of feels like a mental, emotional pattern. And increasingly, the answer to most of the problems in my life is like, do better self-care. It's about taking more time and energy to actually do the things that support myself rather than pushing on through the things that I feel I should do. And the paradox of that is that sometimes when I take time out to actually look after myself, then I've got way more energy to do all the things I need to do when I come back from that. So for this hour of yoga class, which is just an hour, but it is an hour of time out, I want you to practice in a way where you feel that you're refilling your battery. You're recharging your battery. So just imagine if you had it's a bit like a computer game. If you had one of those life meters and empty is down the bottom and full is down at the top. Just notice where you are on that right now. Is your battery nearly empty? Is your battery full, or is it somewhere in between? Just letting yourself observe that, whether that's as a visual or in terms of your feeling sense or in any other way. And then breathe in a way that helps your life meter to top back up. A relaxed and expansive way where you're both recharging yourself but also letting go of unnecessary tension. And that's your advanced intention for this class, is to keep breathing and moving in a way that helps to recharge your battery. And know, as ever in that practice, you can choose to do what you need to do. So if I'm offering a pose and it doesn't feel good for your body, or if you suddenly think I need to lie out with my legs at the wall, or actually I really need to do some sun salutations, then do feel free to do something different. That's totally acceptable. It's your body, it's your practice. And what I'll instruct is a fairly simple, basic sequence. And the invitation is to continue to breathe and move in a way that helps you to recharge your battery. Let's start on our hands and knees. So putting something padded underneath your knees if you need to. And you could also do this on your forearms if your wrists don't feel good. Perhaps close your eyes and then just move your center of gravity around, maybe from side to side or a little bit forwards and back. Being aware of your points of contact with the floor and bringing a little bit of subtle movement to your shoulders and your hips. Becoming curious about how you can use your breath to recharge your internal battery, which is a curious mixture of actively doing something and relaxing around that act. It's not about stressful, hard breathing. It's not about over-efforting. Then bring your forearms down to the floor and let's do cat-cow with the forearms on the floor. With this, you won't be moving your head and neck so much, but I want you to focus on the back of your shoulders and your mid-spine and your tailbone. So as you inhale, let go in your belly, let your belly move down, get a sense of your tailbone pointing up, and you could lift your chin a tiny bit. But if that feels at all stressful in your neck, don't. Just let your head be in neutral. Exhale, pull your belly in, round your back, push your mid back up, and feel for tilting your tailbone down and letting your head and neck relax completely. They're not on the floor, they're just relaxing down towards the floor. Inhale, arching, belly down, tailbone up. Exhaling, rounding, belly in and up, tailbone down. Continue to explore this movement. And imagine that your breath is pulling in fresh energy, fresh oxygen for all of your cells. Focus a little on the place at the back of your shoulders, like around your shoulder blades. Perhaps getting a little more movement there. Not straining into your neck, though. You might need to leave the neck out of it. Okay, then come back onto your hands and knees. And we'll come into child's pose. Feel free in child's pose, as you take your hips back to your heels, you could put something like a block underneath your forehead, if that would feel restful. Or if your knees feel tight, one option is to put like a cushion or something between your thighs and the calves. Sometimes putting a bit of something as a spacer at the back of your knees is quite nice. If child's pose doesn't work for you, just lie on your back with your knees coming in towards your chest. Take your breath to your back body. Noticing any storehouses of tension there. And then consciously relax those places. If you're quite new to yoga, just focus on making a deep breath at the moment, a deep inhale and a long exhale. Throughout the class. If you're more experienced in yoga, connect to that sense of topping up your life force, refilling your battery, like increasing the levels on your energy meter. Okay, bring your hands in underneath your shoulders, lift up, and then come into a seated position. If it helps to sit on a block or a cushion, you could do that. If it feels comfortable to be cross-legged, do that. If you need to sit a different way, that's totally fine. Or you could even do this sat on a chair. Let's do some wrist stretches next. Because it's one of these things, a lot of the time when we're doing with our hands. Unfortunately, often we're doing like modern things like texting and driving and typing, and not lovely old-fashioned things like what I've got to later, which is like chop. I've got to process. My friend has given me some peaches and nectarines off her trees that I'm going to process and make into pickles. So unfortunately, most of the time we're not doing those kind of ancestral tasks of working with our hands and making things. We're doing these kind of modern things. So it's great to just stretch out the hands and kind of bringing fresh energy to the hands. So let's do wrist stretches. Have your left hand in front of you, palm facing forwards, fingers pointing down. Inhale, hold onto your little finger. Exhale, stretch your little finger back. Relax in your left shoulder. Inhale, ring finger. Exhale, stretch your ring finger back. You might be able to feel the stretch go into your wrist, your arm, or maybe even up towards your shoulder. Inhale, middle finger. Bringing fresh energy all the way down to your middle finger. Exhale, stretch your middle finger back. Inhale, index finger. Exhale, stretching your index finger back. Inhale, hold onto your thumb, pull your thumb towards the side. Exhale, stretch your thumb back. Give your hands a wiggle and notice if one side feels different to the other. And then do the same thing on the other side in your own time. Bringing more aliveness to your hands. After that, give your fingers a wriggle, and if you're doing something asymmetrical with your legs, change them over the other way. Wrist stretches part 2. Inhale, take your hands out to the side as if you're pushing your hands towards the side walls. Exhale, make fists with your little fingers in the middle and your thumbs on top, and then tilt your knuckles down. Inhale, lift your chest a little, soften your shoulders. Exhale, continue to tilt your knuckles down. Inhale, spread your fingers out, palms facing forwards this time. Exhale, thumb in first, and then the index, middle, ring, and little fingers on top. And then tilt your hands to the side, so you're stretching into the side wrist. Inhale, broaden across your chest. Exhale, notice this stretch in the side of your wrist. Release your arms. Let's do those one more time. So inhale, hands out to the sides. Exhale, little finger in first, turn your hands into fists, tilt down. One more full breath here. Next one, inhale, spread your fingers out, palms forward. Exhale, thumb in the middle, other fingers wrap around, tilt your knuckles down. Great, release your arms. Let's do one more wrist stretch. For this one, either bring your legs into some kind of symmetrical position, either with the soles of your feet together, or you could maybe take your legs out to the side, whatever makes most sense in your body. And then you'll take your fingertips sort of down onto the floor in front of you, or even onto your legs, so that, again, the palms are facing forwards. Wrists, inside of the wrists is facing forwards. Great. And then do a mini cat-cow here. Inhale, lift your chest up. Exhale, round your back. Feeling for letting this go into your forearms. So inhale, lifting up. Exhaling, rounding. If you can't feel this at all, you could take your hands further down. Keeping your chest and shoulders wide. Great. Release your hands and then straighten out your legs and circle your ankles and your wrists slowly a few times. Continuing to nourish yourself with your deep breath as you do this. So you're doing this very simple thing of breathing deeply and doing simple movements. Well, some of them might be a bit complex, but just doing movement which will bring more circulation and more circulation to your tissues and help move stuff around the body. Like, movement is really important. Ranges different, doing different types of movements. Okay, great. So let's come into downward facing dog next. Come onto your hands and knees, tuck your toes under, and then lift yourself up into downward facing dog. If you'd prefer to do the version with your hands on the wall, know that that's always an option. Feet on the floor, hands on the wall. And then have a wiggle in downward facing dog, alternately bending one knee and straightening the other leg. And then switching around. So there's a little bit of movement coming to your hips and your shoulders. And then bend your knees, bring them down to the floor. Come onto your back, and we'll do a few things from there next. Have a cushion or a block nearby to you. You might need it for one of the things we're going to do in a bit. Let's do cat exercise 1 first. So focusing on your lower back and the space between your lower back and the floor. As you inhale, increase the curve of your lower back. Your hips stay down, but you're making more space between your lower back and the floor. Exhale and release whatever that action was. Letting your belly soften, let your lower back soften. Letting go of tension from around that area. So it's a very simple movement. Inhale, increase the curve of your lower back. Exhaling, releasing tension from that area, relaxing that area. It will drop down, but you're not pushing your lower back down. It's actually more of a release on the exhale. Do 3 more of those. After that round, just pause with your hands on your belly. Close your eyes and notice where your life force meter is at right now. Sometimes the first stage in improving your self-care is to notice when the meter's low. Notice when you need to make some different choices to help support yourself. Because it's never going to be somebody else that does that for you. It's one of these things that can only be your responsibility. Let's do cat exercise 4 now. Take your left hand behind your head. So The back of your head is in your left hand. Right arm is just going to rest on the floor. Inhale and arch your back like you did just now. Exhale, relax your back. Lift your head and your left shoulder up off the floor. Also lift your opposite leg, your right leg, so your left elbow and right knee are moving towards each other. Doesn't matter if they touch or not. Inhale and land your head and your foot back on the floor really slowly. Do a little arch at the end. Exhale, release your back. Lift your head. So you're staying with the same side, right leg, left elbow. Continuing in that pattern, let's do another 3. And then change sides. At the end of this round, take your right hand behind your head. Same thing. This time, right elbow moving in the direction of your left knee. Breathing in a way that helps you to recharge your battery. After that round, pausing, resting your hands somewhere comfortable. Retaining some awareness of your breath. And continuing to breathe just that bit deeper than usual. Okay, now take your cushion or your block. If it's a cushion, you probably need to fold it up or roll it up. Or if it's a block, use a wider block rather than a thinner block. And have that between your thighs. Let's do abs with a block, but in a sort of somatic style. So clasp your hands behind your head. Inhale, mini curve in your lower back. Exhale, release your lower back, squeeze your block, lift your head and shoulders up. Be aware of how you're contracting in your front body and your inner thighs. Inhale, slowly release that contraction so your head and shoulders lower back down to the floor. Mini arch at the end of your inhale. Then exhaling, Releasing in your lower back, but contracting in your front to lift up. Not straining in your neck with this. Feel for the support coming from lower down. Continuing in this pattern. Letting yourself be slow. Paying attention to your body rather than your mind. If you have a tendency to get lost in your thoughts, or just you have a life or a job that's very thinky, it's great to focus your attention on your body and just the sensations of your body as a way of switching out of your mind consciousness into more of your body awareness and wisdom. Just one more of these. And then once your head's on the floor, like move your hands out from behind your head, remove your prop. Slowing down so you have time to breathe fully. Breathing fully with gentleness. Next, let's do cat exercise 5, which I think is the one on the side. So you're going to roll onto one side. Oh, I have sand on my floor. Okay. Roll onto your one side. Bring your knees up towards your chest, so your knees and hips are at kind of a right angle. There we go. Have your bottom arm underneath your head, or you could put a cushion or something underneath your head if that doesn't feel comfortable in your arm. So your head is supported. And then wrap your top arm around your head. Then as you inhale, you'll keep your knees together, lift your top foot away from the bottom foot, and also lift your head up away from the floor. So you're getting a big contraction in the side of your body. Exhale, slowly release the contraction in your side, lowering your head and your foot back down. Make sure you really totally let go at the end of that movement. And then we'll do 3 more of those. So knees staying together. Inhale, head and top foot lift. Notice your side. Exhaling, releasing. Explore letting go of tension as you exhale. Sometimes what's zapping your energy is the tension. Pause after that round. Noticing any sensations. Continuing to charge your cells with your breath. And then set yourself up on the other side, kind of roll over or spin around, whatever you want to do, so that you're lying on the other side. You don't need to see me because it's the same thing. either resting your head on your arm or on a cushion. Top arm is wrapping around your head. So inhale, lift your top foot away from the bottom foot, lift your head up. Exhale slowly as you can. Head and foot come down. 3 more. And then pausing. Either staying on your side if that's comfortable, or rolling onto your back if that would be more comfortable. Noticing the places where your breath drops down, and then just gently, subtly continuing to cultivate your deep breath. And then, if you're not already, come onto your back and stretch your arms out to the stretch your arms out to the sides with your knees bent to do like a lying down twist here, where you'll also be rotating your arms. So let's start with the arm rotation bit. Next time you exhale, look to one side, and whichever hand you're looking at, turn the palm up, turn the other palm down. Inhale, head to the middle. Exhale, turn your head the other way. The palm that you're looking at goes up, other palm goes down. Inhale, back to the middle. Exhale, twisting the other way, rotating your arms. Continuing with this. And then when you feel like you've got into a pattern with your head and your neck and your arms, then add in the legs. So whichever direction you're looking at, move your knees the other way, just a bit. Feel for doing this slowly with lots of awareness of your breath. Movement for your tissues. Go once more to either side before just shifting yourself into a place you're comfortable to rest in. Just pausing, bend your knees, roll onto one side, and we'll make our way up to standing. Okay, great. We'll do a standing pose series now, so there'll be like 6 or 7 poses all on one side, and then hopefully we'll remember them to do them on the other side. We'll start in Warrior One. Face yourself towards one of the short ends of your mat, and then step your left foot forward and your right foot back, and then bend your left knee. This tail belongs to Little Cat, by the way. I think she wants a dinner. So Warrior One, left knee bent, right leg straight. Just working first with your hands on your hips. Breathing deeply and finding a way of doing this standing pose series in a way that doesn't feel too effortful. So it's not just like another thing you have to do. It's not like a stress. It's not a strain. And if you need to come out of poses and pause or just lie down or anything, give yourself permission to do that. Then bring eagle arms into it, elbows in front, press your left elbow over your right. Maybe your hands meet, maybe they don't, but have the elbows crossed over. And then unwind your arms, come into, we'll do Humble Warrior. So interlace your hands together behind your back or catch hold of your alternate elbows. Option 1, stay with your chest lifted. Option 2, lean forwards over your left leg. Breathing in a way that helps you to recharge your batteries. You can lift your hands up a bit if that feels good. And then release your arms, bring your hands to the floor, and bring your right knee down to the floor. We'll do a series of lunges now. Ideally with your knee on the floor, perhaps put a cushion underneath it. Otherwise, modify with your knee up if you need to. So first thing we'll do is a lunge side bend. With your hips kind of lined up with your back knee, take your right arm up in the air and lean to the left. Left hand could just be on your left thigh. Keeping your hips level. Breathing in a way that brings fresh energy to your armpit. Inhale, straighten up, bring your elbow down. Exhale and come into twisted lunge. I'll show this the other way around. So still got your left foot forwards, but I want you to either take your left hand on your hip and just brace your right arm against your thigh. That's one option. Or if you want to sort of go a bit deeper and you could hook your elbow over and link your hands together. Whatever feels better right now. And then you're kind of moving your chest towards your hands if you've got the hands linked. Bring in lots of fresh breath. Particularly to any sort of tight or graunchy or tired or stressed places. Feel if you can actually tangibly breathe into those spots. Okay, unhook your arm. Next thing we'll do is a Maine Coon cat stretch. Lift your torso up and then step your left foot further forwards. Bring your hands down onto the floor, onto blocks or onto your elbows, and then drop your hips forward. You could do this with your back knee down, or you could lift your back knee up, whichever would be more fun right now. So whether you've got your hands on the floor or your elbows on the floor or your hands on blocks. Back knee could be up or down. Okay, then we'll move into pigeon. So you'll need to lift your hips back up and rearrange yourself so your left knee is at the front of your mat. If you know where you're going with pigeon, just set that up. If you're not comfortable getting into pigeon, it's often easiest to come onto your hands and knees first and then slide your left knee forwards. So left knee's coming forward, right leg is going back. And then you're lying forwards and down over your leg. If this feels stressful in your knee at all, come higher up or experiment with sitting on your left hip and increasing the angle on your left knee. That's also an option. You don't want to stress into your knee joints. Perhaps meeting some of the tension around your hips or thighs. Bringing your breath there to dissolve any of that unconscious tension. Then bring your hands underneath your shoulders and come back onto your hands and knees, and then lift yourself back up off the mat. And we'll do that whole sequence the other way around. Okay. So step your right foot forward, left foot back, right knee bent, warrior one. Hands on your hips to begin with. Hips and chest are facing towards the short side of your mat. I won't instruct these poses so much as you've just done them, but in the silence, I want you to stay focused on that sense of your breath, recharging your battery. Eagle arms, elbows come up, right elbow crosses over left. Humble warrior. Clasp your hands together behind or clasp your hands onto your elbows. Option 1 is to stay upright. Option 2 is to lean over your right thigh, perhaps taking your hands up a little. Okay, release your arms. Bring your left knee down to the floor to do lunge side bend. You've still got your right foot forwards. Hips are level with your left knee. Inhale, take your left arm up. Exhale and lean to the right. Okay, bring your arm back and then come into twisting lunge. Hook your left arm or left elbow over your right thigh, either just bracing the forearm on the thigh, other hand on the hip, or if you want to go deeper, hooking the elbow over and linking your hands. Feel for this being a twist. There's a twist happening in your spine. Okay, unhook your elbow, lift your torso up. Main Coon cat stretch. Take your right foot further forwards and then drop your hips forward and down. Bring your hands down onto the floor or your elbows onto the floor or hands on the block. And then you can choose whether your back knee is down or up off the floor. Making your breath be really important. With that intention of your breath helping you to build more energy. Pigeon. Rearrange yourself so your right knee is at the front of your mat, coming into pigeon. If you've never done that before, start from your hands and knees, both knees on the floor, and then slide your right knee forwards, slide your left leg back, and come down towards the floor. Doing anything you need to do to modify if this feels stressful to your knee. And then make your way back onto your hands and knees. And like you did at the start, just play with moving your center of gravity around from side to side or forwards and back. Still being with your deep, deep breath. Just having a bit of a wiggle here. And then set yourself up in whatever resting position you'd like to finish the class in. So maybe coming onto your back, or sitting with your back supported, or being with your legs at the wall, whatever would be comfortable for you. Sometimes it's really nice to cover your eyes, particularly if it's kind of still quite shiny where you are. Putting a blanket or something over your eyes. Weight on the forehead can be kind of nice too. And then let go of all effort with your breath. Allow your breath to breathe you. Trusting that that process of refilling your battery continues and often happens best when one just rests. It's in the resting and letting go phase that recharge can truly happen. A place of no effort. Bring your hands to rest on your belly or your chest. And subtly increase the amplitude of your breath. And as you do that, notice on your life force meter where you're at, whether this last hour of practice has helped to recharge your inner batteries. Knowing that Rome wasn't necessarily built in a day. Sometimes if you just get 10% more, that's really, really worthwhile. Like self-care isn't a one-time thing, it's an ongoing process that might require many different things. And for each of us, the challenge is to find those pieces and do more of them. So thank you for joining me for this practice today. If you'd like to practice with me again, head over to www.inspiratrix.co.uk. There you can find details of my live classes schedule. You can also find details of my membership, which enables you to access not only just the live classes, but also a whole library of recorded videos too. Have a great day.